Tashidelik. Kaje Sergio Ranjabane Mandara Nagarjuna Jinda, the Gindu Jimambasa Zao and the Belunam Kainda, Gajere Nepal of the Gaveri Bazimba Kaimba, and the Tamjata Patambu to Bezunian Jinidrish. La the Lemon Mimji, Wambodan, Jajin La Sochi Chola Chavaja Banam, Sangi Sora of the Jin Juru, but the Dashi Tambichun Jinidrish. Kando Juju Dongi Dana, the Julumajuba Ganso, the Dendri Dimbeji, Cherbs in Yamberto, but Damjidrij, Namo, like the Ludan Jinke, Jubum Dadami, Janam. Do Gunji Danam Jizamber Damjeke, do Dagi Judan, do Palenza Lamarambuja, Dagi Jure Bemedejune, Gadin Chimpe Gonejusund. Kuzundu Jingo drop salto, so Tabget to Shachi to Chung, Shinjim to the Jipunjum, Basirji Lumbo, Tabrujibu, Shaji Jab, Shabla Chasalo. Chakton Kolo Jube Jabo Dunjino Kaba Sambo Sangeton Kanla Kandu, the letter Dembatumba Cheres in La Chatalo, Seji Jawa, Tamji, Shipumbutik Diba. Siji Gunji Bajurbe Jambe Yang La Chatalo, Chakton Kolo Jube Jabo Dunjino Kaba Sambo Sangeton Kanla Kandu, the letter Dembatumba Cheres in La Chatalo. Seji Jawa, Tamji, Shipumbutik Diba, Siji Gunji Bajurbe Jambe Yang La Chatalo, Kanshi Tony Shinji, Ponala Sodawana. Tani Sojer Jebo Dojen La Chasalo Corwale, Taremo, Tutara, Jiju to Reno, Nam the Domayum La Chasalo. Nalindaru to them, the Dinjism Kalaji, Shanti Deva Sheja, Lamatella, Chasalo, Shejatam Zibe Cham, but to Ginjili do it to Jij. Some Tilizabeth Tomawa Jamgul, Amishabla. Kuchatsa, Sejatam Zibe Jam, but Dugan Jili to Jij Summit, Zibetongo. Jungle, Amijabla Gujaza, Jatam Zibe Jam, but Dugan Jili to Jij. Zametil Zibetongo, Jungle, Amijabla Guchatsa. So at the Salama, Kinseva, Jesus Lama, Kinseva, Shinji Lama, Kinseva, Tingman, Gao Lama, Kinseva, Children Lama, Kinseva. To Jesus Lama Kensewa Keno Lama Chinse de Cheno Chilla Terjin Daniel Lama Jambal de Cheno Chokutala Ningi Kolon Namsam Kangi Chadaso Nisem Tachi Tambe Meba Tegun Gumbe Suzuji Jesutu Namtra Sabjin Jachetala Nirsuzu Yabjing Lajan Tala Reva Machi Kangenda Ninsen Kundu Jamen Kube Samja Chiji Tukjeshu Tungsemenya Manjasring Rangini Belebese Tadum Kenya Majur Padum Japshin Solvar Majuroche Hong Oje Jeno Janzam Bamagazar Dombola Yanze Chogi Mudum Pemajuneshes Kordo Kandra Mambe Gora Chiji Jizu Da Dubi Shinji Love your Shis Zunguru Pemase Usumama Sojedochi Dalazo dum jungo zaldo so ujerum bujela zo dem galjem barjem mejuji dunjen sambadroba dan chodan dum zaldo so So Tashidelik again from lovely South India. I've been here now for 24 days, and we haven't had not even one sunny day. So it's really pouring down, real monsoon weather. But yeah, it's very nice. So this is the fourth video. Fourth session about the Indian schools. So in the first video we talked about the Vaibhasika school, then we talked about the Sautrantika school. Now in this video we will talk about the third video we talked about the Chittamatra school, and now we will talk about the Madhyamika school. The term madhyamaka, this term comes from madhyama, Madhyama meaning in the middle, medium or in the middle. So Madhyamaka is in the reference to a middle path, or a view that is without two extremes. So in the middle of two extremes, meaning it is without two extremes. The term itself, middle path, it's not unique of the Madhyamika school. In fact, Shakyamuni Buddha himself have used this term many times in the sutras, and so in many ways almost all Indian Buddhist schools believe that they have the middle path, that they are the real, how to say, Madhyamaka, so to speak. They are the real followers of the Buddha. So now this has of course different meaning, different reason why they are the ones in the middle path. Reasons based on view, reasons based on conduct, reasons based on meditation. Some claim that they are the one on the middle path because their school they follow the perfect discipline of Buddha, which avoids extreme asceticism or a lavish, how to say, bloated, gluttonous, isn't it the term, gluttonous lifestyle. So they are in the middle, they are on the middle path. And also each of the schools like Vaibhasika, they claim that they are in the middle path, they are on the middle path because of their view of ultimate and relative truths. Same goes with Sautrantika. They believe that they are on the middle path. Chittamatra for sure, denying the existence of form and only accepting the existence of mind. They believe that they are on the middle path. Here, we believe that only the Madhyamaka school is on the middle path in true sense. And there are many reasons to make such claim. So one such claim would be something you may have heard many times and you will hear a lot. We believe that only the Madhyamika school teaches the ultimate view of emptiness, emptiness of all phenomena, the ultimate view of emptiness, and great compassion towards sentient beings, and that these two has to go hand in hand. In fact, the term is these two has to be in union, inseparable. That's why we are on the middle path, they say. Maitreya says we are on the middle path because for having wisdom, the Bodhisattva, for having wisdom of emptiness, the Bodhisattva do not remain in samsara. It's not a samsaric being. And for having great compassion towards sentient beings, Bodhisattva also do not remain in nirvana. Hence, a Bodhisattva who follow prajna paramita, the transcendental wisdom, is on the middle path. Bodhisattva goes, or Bodhisattva or the Buddha goes beyond samsara and nirvana. And in that way, it is a middle path. Also, the Madhyamika school is the one who is on the middle path, because we do not negate the appearance of the relative truth. The appearance of the relative truth. Like the Chittamatra, they say, oh, form do not exist at all. We do not negate like that. We do not negate the appearances of the relative truth. And also we do not abandon the reality of such appearances. Hence, this school believes that while the phenomena are empty in nature, they appear, and while they appear, they are empty in nature. Hence, in the Prajnaparamita Hridaya Sutra, the Heart Sutra, you will find Avalokiteshvara saying, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is none other than the emptiness. Emptiness is none other than the form. Then similarly, you have to go on with each aggregates. Mind is emptiness. Emptiness is mind. Mind is not other than the emptiness. Emptiness is not other than the mind. So the inseparability, non-duality, the union of the two truths is the middle path. And then ultimately, the ultimate truth, the emptiness, is also the middle path, because it is beyond existence and non-existence. It is beyond arising and cessation. It is beyond permanent and impermanence. Permanence and impermanence. It is beyond coming and going. It is beyond good and bad. It is beyond mind and mental construct. So it is the middle path. Right, so this is the fourth school of the Indian Buddhism, and the most important school of the Indian Buddhism in our view. Now, if you ask to which sutra do they belong to, so sort of to which, what kind of sutras do they have as their source, then generally the entire teachings of the Buddha is the source. We do not abandon any sutra by saying, oh, that is not belonging to us. No. Whether it is a Sravaka Sutra, whether it is a Mahayana Sutra, or whatever kind of sutras, all of those are our source. But in particular, you remember Buddha turned three wheels of he turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times. So the second time when Buddha was with more than 1,000 monks on top of the Vulture Peaks mountain, there he gave the teaching of the Prajnaparamita sutras. Now those are sort of our main sort of source, the Prajnaparamita sutras. So we have 12 or 13 volumes of Prajnaparamita sutras, and then we have Gyatongpa, what is the name, 8,000 verses, that is the medium length Prajnaparamita sutra. And then we have 20,000 verses, which is like the short Prajnaparamita sutra. And then we have texts like Heart Sutra, which is like very, very, very short Prajnaparamita sutras. And now there's so many Prajnaparamita sutras, and and they are all our sources, but not just them. Sutras like Shalistamba Sutra, the rice seedling sutra, Vimalakirti Nirdesha Sutra, the Sutra of Vimalakirti. What else? The Yapsejal with Do, the Sutra of the meeting of father and son, that, and Dashabhumika Sutra, the Sutra of the 10 Bhumis. So anyway, so all Mahayana Sutra are our sources. So we do not sort of point to one particular sutra and say this is our source, or only to one particular genre or group and say only this is our source. Not at all. All teachings of Buddha is they are our sources, but in particularly the sutras taught during this second turning of the wheel of the Dharma. Yeah. So now, who started this school? Did the Buddha started this school? No, Buddha didn't start any school. Well, Buddha, let's say he started just Dharma, the school of Buddha Dharma, if we can say like that. But he didn't particularly start sort of schools like Vaibhasika for some people, Sautantrika for some people. By now you know that, right? He didn't do that. So he also didn't necessarily sort of started a Madhyamika school. From the Madhyamika point of view, all the teachings Buddha gave was the Madhyamika sort of. There is no teaching that Buddha gave that is beyond that is away from or that is contradicting the teachings of Nagarjuna, the teachings of Madhyamika tradition. So the school was started by a great Indian master named Nagarjuna. He was one of those few beings that were prophesied by the Shakyamuni Buddha himself. And now there are so many prophecies of Nagarjuna. Buddha, where Buddha says that after my parinirvana, basically after I die, 400 years after I die, and then in this in a country in the south, Locho Bede Yultinis, the name starting with Beta. There will be a fully ordained monk with the name of Naga, like that, and he, anyway, so very, very clear sort of prophecy about Nagarjuna, what he will do, what he will teach, even how long he will live. Buddha made a prophecy that Nagarjuna will live for 600 years, and that's what traditional people like myself, we believe that Nagarjuna really lived 600 years. So now you might think, well, Buddha have already taught the middle path. Buddha already taught emptiness and all that in the sutras. So then what exactly Nagarjuna do that, that he is credited, he has, is credited to have started the Madhyamika school. So what did he actually do? He didn't really teach anything else. He didn't really teach something that was not that was not in the sutras. Like in case teachings of like Vaibhasika schools, where many teachings that you will find in Abhidharma Kosha, you will not necessarily find in the sutras. You might find similar names, but or a mention here and there, but not exactly as they say. But whatever the Nagarjuna says, that all phenomena is empty of true existence and so on, that you will find exactly taught by the Buddha. So then what did he do? Well, during the time of the Buddha, first of all, the listeners, they were really really great. They were great practitioners who have been practicing Buddha Dharma for many lives, and now many of them were at the end of their samsaric lives. So they were ready. They were really ready for Buddha's teaching, we call such individuals Wangbun Nombo. Now the translation, unfortunately, of that these days is intelligent beings, which is really not so good, because the connotation of intelligence, being an intelligent being, is somewhat it falls short of what it actually means. Wangbun Nombo. Nevertheless, so they were of superior faculties, let's say, superior elements, because they have practiced for many lives, and many of them have made so many aspirations, prayers, and they also had such strong karmic link with the Buddha that Buddha didn't really have to prove. Most of the time he didn't really have to prove anything that he taught. It was so transparent that he would just say all phenomena is empty of true existence, and that is it. They get it. They got it. Sometimes Buddha won't even say that. Buddha just say things like form is like a bubble, sort of perceptions are like mirage. He won't even say form is emptiness. He won't even say perception is without true existence. Not even that. He would just use examples. Perception is like mirage, and they get it. They got it, and they get enlightened. And that was it. That was enough. Sadly, that's not the case for us. And so, what Nagarjuna started, this Madhyamika school, what this school does is prove or establish, maybe that's better, establish the reality of phenomena through reasoning, only through reasoning. Of course, they will quote the Buddha, but those quotations will not be the main proof, so to speak, main argument. Not at all. They're just supplements. They are there to also show that we are not saying something that Buddha haven't taught, but the emptiness aspect itself, the selflessness aspect itself, or whatever they teach, karma, whatever they teach, but particularly here, the ultimate truth is established solely based on reasonings. So that is what Nagarjuna did. One of the things. That is the characteristics of the school that he started. Also, he brought the Prajnaparamita sutras back to the realm of humans. How to say? I feel sometimes I feel sorry for those who disbelieve Madhyamika tradition and they have nothing, no reasons for that. It's like sort of they have no rational and logical argument against the view of Nagarjuna, his view, conduct, meditation. There is no argument against that. So now then the only argument is, it's very fishy how he brought those Prajnaparamita sutras, before Nagarjuna, sort of there, no one have seen the Prajnaparamita sutras. This is what they think, and then suddenly Nagarjuna brought it like, magically, which is not true. During the time of Buddha taught Prajnaparamita sutras, but the audience, the main audience of the large Prajnaparamita teachings, the 12 or 13 volumes that I was talking about, they were supposed to be the Nagas. The Nagas were the sort of the listeners. That is why you see that Buddha have repeated many of his sentences again and again and again, and later on some masters have raised this doubt, why did Buddha do that? And the answer was that because you look into the sutras and you find that the main audience, they were the Nagas, who were not so intelligent as humans. So Buddha had to repeat many things again and again. Anyway, so Nagarjuna, when he was an established Buddhist master, he was teaching, and every evening, two very beautiful young boys would come to the teaching, and as soon as they come in, the entire sort of temple will have this very wonderful scent. It will smell so nice, and as soon as they leave, this smell would be gone. The scent would be gone. So Nagarjuna knew that it's them, and Nagarjuna also knew that they are not humans. They look like human beings, but they're not. So one day Nagarjuna confronts them, sort of saying, "Who are you?" And they say, "Oh, we are the two sons of a Naga king, and we come here to receive teachings from you, and we would like to invite you to the realm of Nagas." And then they also say, "And we would like to show you the Prajnaparamita sutras that we have kept there." And as soon as Nagarjuna heard that, he knew, I have to go. I have to get those sutras. So he goes, he gives them teaching, and he brings back the Prajnaparamita sutras. I don't think all of the Prajnaparamita sutras were brought by him from the land of Naga, but a large part was. So that's how we had Prajnaparamita sutras on this earth again. So now Nagarjuna wrote so many treatises. It is believed that he was a Bodhisattva on the first bhumi, and he had Ushinisha, just like Buddha. He had protuberance and the white hair of the Buddha, exactly like the Buddha, and his hands. He had chakra on his palms, on his feet, just like the Buddha. So he had many external signs of enlightened being that everyone could see. So Nagarjuna was such a great master, and he probably wrote the largest collection of treatises, writings that we have of our Indian masters. He wrote so many texts on emptiness. He wrote texts on conduct. He wrote many texts, different commentaries of tantras, different tantric texts. So really a pioneer. And now the object of interest here is his text Mula madhyamika karika, which can be translated as the root, the Mula madhyamika karika, the root verses of the middle path, the madhyamaka. There in that text he said, Tale mind sheleme nile mind jumemen ngobu kanda kana kewa namya your minds, neither for themselves nor from others, or from both, or from neither, without any cause. The fourth one, phenomena have no birth. Phenomena have no birth. How to translate? Wait. Okay, let me recalibrate. So basically he said, phenomena, they are not born from themselves. They do not birth from others also. And definitely they are not born from themselves and others, both. And they also do not sort of arise without any cause. So in this way, we can see that whatever it may be, wherever it may be, wherever it may be, phenomena have no true birth. Sorry, no, he doesn't say true. It's important afterwards, for whatever reason, if you get that far. He just says phenomena have no birth. So now this is one of the most important sort of proclamation, announcement, so to speak, made by an Indian Buddhist master, probably by any Indian till date, other than Buddha himself. What he did was that he showed that phenomena, we believe that they are born. They are born from causes and conditions, we say. But when we look into it, then we find that they are not born from themselves. Of course not. But they are also not born from others. They are not born from both. And then they are not born without any causes also. Phenomena are not born from themselves is quite easy. Of course not. What does that mean? We immediately think, the flower is born from, the tree is born from seed. The tree is not born from itself. The curd is born from milk. It's not born from itself. Doesn't make sense. Now the troubling part will be for many of you the second one. The phenomena are not born from others, and this is, I cannot go into detail right now, but soon you will, if you stick with the program. We will study the ways of Bodhisattva, and then many other Madhyamika texts. You will get opportunity to study this basically in detail, it will change your life. It will change the way you look at things. These texts are so amazing. They really, one reason why I didn't start talking to you about this school, the fourth one, for so long is I just don't know what to say. It's so vast, and whatever I think that I should say, immediately I feel that doesn't do justice to the school, Then he said, phenomena are not born from others. Another phenomena also. Why? Because for you to be born from another phenomena, there has to be two phenomena at the same time. Meaning, if the curd is born from a milk that is other than the curd, Nagarjuna is not saying that the curd is not born from the milk, but he's saying if the curd is born from a milk that is other than itself, then the curd and the milk has to exist at the same time to be two phenomena. You cannot be two phenomena if both of you do not exist together. I cannot say, let's say yesterday I had a pen and it's gone, and today I get this pen. So but when someone asks me, how many pens do you have? I should say I have only one pen. I cannot say I have two pens. Yesterday pen is gone, wherever it went to, So somewhat similar to this logic, Nagarjuna says, during the time of the curd, there is no milk. There is no milk. So you cannot say the milk is other than the curd, and milk is another phenomena than the curd, because the milk is not a phenomena during the time of the curd. Similarly, during the time of the milk, the curd is unborn. It is not a phenomena yet again. So, phenomena are not born from a cause that is other than themselves. Third one is easy. Phenomena are not born from themselves and others combined. If you're not born from yourself, and if you're not born from others, understandably you're not born from both easily, right? So that one is easy. Fourth one is a bit challenging. That phenomena are not born without any causes. Bit challenging, not because it's difficult to understand. It's not that difficult to understand. It's just that the Indian school that used to say that, phenomena, they just appear. They are made by nature. They just sort of, their name for not having a cause, for not really nothingness, but they just say, it's born from nature. They say things like, look at the peas. Why are the green peas so round and smooth? Look at the thorns. Why are they so sharp and prickly? Look at the feathers of a peacock. Who painted them? They say. All of those happen out of nature. There is no cause to that. So this school, Charvaka school, believed that. So to negate that, Nagarjuna said this. And even if we wouldn't have a particular sort of opponent for each of these four lines, each of these four sort of type of negation of four type of birth, I think Nagarjuna would have to say this, because if something is born, if we believe that there is a birth, the phenomena will have to be born in one of these four ways. Either it has to be born from itself, or from others, or both, or neither, meaning there is no cause for that, then for them, and there is no other way. No matter how you think, whatever you bring up, you'll find that if there is a birth, it has to be in one of these four ways. Hence, Nagarjuna says that you find that phenomena have no birth in any way, in any form. So, of course, when phenomena have no birth, there is no abiding. Then there is no cessation. There is no samsara. There is no nirvana. So, in this way, all phenomena are sort of established as empty in nature. But then again, you might think, as many thought, that, oh yeah, okay, this is a nihilistic school. These people are nihilistic. Their view is, oh, nothing exists. Not at all. Nagarjuna himself, again, he said, Kanzir tendre mahimba choga yoba maino tejir tongi mahimba choga yoba maino. He said, since there is no phenomena that is dependently arising, hence there is no phenomena that is not empty, sort of empty in nature. Yeah, since there are no phenomena that is not dependently arising, there is no phenomena that is not empty in nature. So for him, dependent arising was the answer. Dependently arising phenomena, they sort of depend on each other. Or maybe I should say, yet they are empty in nature. So in relative term, he believed that there are two types of phenomena. One that are born from causes and conditions, and one that are just imputations. So, for example, a flower is born from a plant, from a tree. Nagarjuna will accept until that. Chandrakirti, he said, when someone asks you to bring a pot full of water, you take the pot and you fill it with water and give it to them. You do not argue with them. Where is the pot? Where is the water? Nothing, both sort of, none of these truly exist. You do not do that. So similarly here, Nagarjuna says that relatively we accept what appears. We accept. So what appears is cause and effect. What appears is karma. What appears is impermanence. We accept that. But the moment you ask, aha, so you guys believe in dependent arising, you guys believe in cause and effect, so what are they? Are cause and effect one phenomena or two different phenomena? Nagarjuna will say, oh, we are going into emptiness now. You are going to the ultimate truth. In that sense, they are neither one nor separate. Milk and curd. They are neither same phenomena nor a different phenomena. And this is just the logic. The reasoning is so good. It's so good that, wow, it has really stood the test of time. We're talking about someone who came 2,000 years ago and said these things, and they are so good. Anyway, I'm getting distracted now. So that is what he taught. He taught that relatively there phenomena appear, and they appear in two ways. One, that they appear as cause and effect, and another they appear as imputations, like a name, like let me think of a better example, like the idea of here and there, near and far, big and small, like like the idea of a generality, like a tree. When I say tree, in my head I have this idea of a tree, but not any particular tree. I just feel like I'm seeing something greenish with branch, but I'm not necessarily thinking of a particular tree. That's called generality. It's generalization of all that is tree, but in itself it's not a tree. It's a mental projection. It's so that Nagarjuna will say is a dependently imputed. So dependent origination or dependent arising, we have two sort of section to that: the cause and effect, and a mental phenomena it's not really there, but it's just named. So for Nagarjuna it is very important that emptiness and dependent origination goes together. I shouldn't even say hand in hand or together, because that would again be a mistake. They're inseparable. Wherever there is dependent origination, there is emptiness. Wherever there is emptiness, there is dependent origination. Or maybe I should say, whatever that is dependent origination is its nature. It is empty in nature, and whatever is empty is a dependent origination. Empty in nature is dependent origination. Like form is emptiness, emptiness is form, like that. And as practitioners, Nagarjuna shows the path of how to bring emptiness. Nagarjuna shows the way how to bring emptiness to the path, on the path. So the practitioner first understands emptiness, the view of emptiness, and through understanding the view of emptiness, the practitioner gains compassion towards sentient beings. All this war, all this famine, all sort of this endless cycle of lives, all of that is happening because of a belief in a true existence, belief in a self, I, me, and Nagarjuna sees that there is no such thing as true self. We are made up of many, many things, and every day, every time, those things that makes us keep changing. They are substituted, and after some days, years, nothing is actually the same. No, not just that. Each moment, nothing is the same, changing. Yet beings do not understand that. So then, as Chandakirti says, sentient beings wish for happiness, yet they run towards the things that will bring them suffering. So Nagarjuna similarly says that understanding emptiness, one will gain compassion towards sentient beings, and having gained compassion towards sentient beings, one will take bodhicitta and practice the path. Well, let's say that is enough introduction to Nagarjuna and his view. Well, now, how many types of Madhyamikan schools were there or are there? One way of differentiating, classifying Madhyamikan schools is do they accept an external phenomena? Do they accept external phenomena in relative term or not? So, meaning we're not talking about ultimate truth, but in relative truth, do they accept the existence of a wall, of a hand, of a form? So, people like Chandrakirti will accept that. People like Bhavavivika will accept that. Chandrakirti belongs to the Prasangika Madhyamika, and Bhavavivika belongs to the Svatantrika Madhyamika, but they both believe in that in the relative term there is the existence of phenomena. And then there are those people like Santa Rakshita, the great Santa Rakshita, whose sort of establishment of relative truth is exactly like the Chittamatra school. Ultimately, they believe exactly like Nagarjuna, as Nagarjuna have taught. Nothing truly exists. No form, no mind. Nothing truly exists. But in the relative term, the terminology is very much similar to the Chittamatra school. And not just that they do not believe in an external phenomena, existence of an external phenomena, even in the relative truth. So that's one way of classifying the Indian schools. But more, I think, efficient way, or more known sort of manner of differentiating classifying the different schools of Madhyamika tradition is understanding the difference between the Prasangika Madhyamika school and Svatantrika Madhyamika school. Now, again, Nagarjuna doesn't belong to any of these two. He's like the Buddha, so to speak. There are some Indian masters who are considered like the earlier Madhyamika school, the older Madhyamika tradition. So nobody touched them because they are during their time there was no such distinction. There was no such great debates. Like Nagarjuna himself, his student Nagabodhi, he's another student Aryadeva. Many say Shantideva too. So many of them, they are they're not classified into whether like one of these sub school of Madhyamika, Prasangika or Svatrantika. How to say their difference in a very easy way? How to now in the ultimate view, there is no difference between these two schools. None of these schools believe in a true existence of any phenomena. So that there is no difference. So then now all the differences between these schools are during the relative term, relative truth. So let's go back to that stanza of Nagarjuna where he says, phenomena, they're not are born from themselves or others, both or without any cause. That one. A master came named Buddha Palita. He came and he said that Nagarjuna meant it in all sense. This is not something Nagarjuna meant only in ultimate truth. Nagarjuna didn't mean to say in ultimate truth or ultimately phenomena have no birth. They are not born from themselves, others, both, or without any cause. He didn't say that. He said whether it is in ultimate term, whether it is during ultimate truth or relative truth, phenomena have no birth from in any of these four ways. They are not born in any of these four manner. So this was his sort of tradition, and that tradition became to be known as Prasangika school. I am making it very, very, very simple. It's really dumbed down. Please do not think that this is it. This is the only the difference. The arguments of these two schools are so detailed and vast and difficult to grasp. I don't want to go into it. Maybe when we will start studying, entering the middle path, the text of Chandrakirti, one day, we will have to go into some of those arguments, but not now. It's very difficult. But this is an important argument, though, what I just said, that Buddha Palita, he started this school that says that phenomena have no sort of, whether in ultimate or what Nagarjuna said, that phenomena are not born in these four ways. He meant it in ultimate and in relative term. Whereas then we have Bhava Viveka, the one who started, I guess we have to say, one who started Swatrantika Madhyamika tradition, say that no, Nagarjuna meant it in ultimate truth, that in ultimate truth phenomena are not born from themselves and others, both, and without any cause. But in relative truth, phenomena are born from others. Look at all the teachings of the Buddha. Buddha says, like a shoot comes from a seed. So seed is other than the shoot, he said. Look at look at everything. The curd comes from the milk. The milk is other than the curd. Curd is other than the milk. So relatively, phenomena are born from others. So this was one of the big sort of differences that begin to appear among the scholars of Madhyamika, among the followers of Nagarjuna. And it is said that Bhava Viveka was so convincing that Buddha Palita sort of lost, so to speak, his influence, and he left India. He went to China and he wanted to meet Manjushri, to practice Manjushri sadhanas, and he wanted to meet Manjushri. I'm not clear whether he actually met Manjushri or not, the accounts, but he died like that, traveling and without getting the respect that he deserved, so to speak. Then came Chandrakirti. He was different. He was very different, and he I don't know, maybe if I should say re-established the Prasangika school in India, in Nalanda, and thanks to him and his teachings, and thanks to translators like Patsab Lotsawa. Patsab Lotsawa, it's a Tibetan master who translated the Entering the Middle Path, Madhyamaka Avatara, into Tibetan, that all Tibetan schools now claim to be followers of Chandrakirti, to be followers of Buddha Palita, to be Prasangika Madhyamika. Wow, these are really, really great beings. Ultimately, like I said, there are no difference between these two schools. Any of these Madhyamika schools. If a school believed in existence of something, anything, or even existence of nothing, in ultimate truth, that school is out of the Madhyamika sort of club. You go out, as Chandrakirti says, you will then be out of the path, of Nagarjuna. You are not on the same path as Nagarjuna, he says. If you believe in anything, sort of any existence in ultimate sense. Anyway, I think I've spoken a lot. I should stop here. Now I remember. Okay, I said that Patsab Lotsawa translated the the text of Chandrakirti into Tibetan, but it doesn't mean that before him, there were no Madhyamika teaching. Of course not. There were the teachings of Nagarjuna, Aryadeva. There were the teachings of people like Kamalashila, a very a great Yogacharya Madhyamika. They are called Yogacharya Madhyamika because their relative view is very similar to Chittamatra, but their ultimate view is Madhyamika. So they call Yogacharya Madhyamika. Sorry, could be a bit confusing for some. I just want to say it that if someday you come back to this video, then you will hopefully get a complete picture. And his teacher, Kamalashila's teacher, Shantarakshita, the one who, together with Padmasambhava and the great Tibetan Dharma king Tisong Devtsin, they really established Buddha Dharma in Tibet. So Shantarakshita was also Swatrantika Madhyamika, but he doesn't belong to Bhavavivika tradition though. He has his own, he was a Yogacharya Madhyamika. And he wrote Madhyamikan texts, sort of texts belonging to the Madhyamika tradition. So in Tibet actually, initially the Svatrantika school was introduced, but then for some reason it didn't really stick, and then Patsab Lotsawa came. He translated Chandrakirti's work, and then people like Randhawa came, and he made the study of Madhyamika so popular in Tibet that it became the backbone of monastic studies. So then now we all belong to the Nalanda tradition. We all belong to the tradition of Chandrakirti and Buddha Palita. Right. Thank you very much. I think I should stop here. I do not know what else to say, and yeah. I hope that these 4 videos, the sessions that we have had till now, I hope that they succeeded in introducing the 4 Indian schools. And let's see. I think now with the BP2 people, we will begin studying ways of Bodhisattva soon. Thank you. Sonam di tamje zibanye domne bedana bamje de jagana je balon rubai sibe zulun rowan rowar show do dungal menji budewa tamje jumane tembanye da gurdi na chete yurun ne jurji lujal go nyer go jan dongen ne bonam sirin ne me buzum zu tado dewa dembara show changju semjo rumboje maje banam je bana je banyamba me baya khone gondo pelwar show jambal babu jedar jambana gondo sombo de ande jente teda gunji jesu dalov jerge wa de damje rabdo ngo. May I, in all my lives, carry far the weight of Buddha Dharma, and if I am not capable to do so, may I always be worried about the longevity of Dharma.